All right. September 28th, 2016, Team Boom call, and we're off with some recognition. These are the coaches that are at Success Club 10 as of yesterday. Brooke Reed, Suzanne Garcia, Jordan Davis, Donnie Imez. She kills me every time I say her name wrong. Teresa Versetto, Casey Bachlet, with 11, myself, with 12, Aaron Johnson, with 14, Sarah Fox, and Danielle Hills, with 18, Ashley Feldinson, and we got an echo. What's up, man? What's up with the echoes? Thought I muted everybody. Mute all. All right, I think that worked. Okay, Ashley Feldinson with 18 Success Club points, and in a bit of a league of their own with 28 and 31 Success Club points in the month, Amy Reelman and Caroline Nathan. Surprise, surprise. Killing it. All right. That is Success Club. I'm also going to do the week leg team volume from last week for the week of September 15th through the 21st. So every coach has a left leg and a right leg. And you have team volume based on the production of the coaches in your left leg. So that's your left leg team volume. And then you have right leg team volume based on the production of the coaches in your right leg. And those coaches don't have to be personally sponsored. Those coaches can be placed there by anybody. It doesn't matter. It's a very team-oriented thing, which is really cool. But you could have one leg that's like super, super strong with all this team volume, and that's great, but nothing going on in your weak leg and the other leg yet. So you're not going to earn on all the potential in that really strong leg, but it's going to sit in a carryover account and wait for you to build that other side. So in the meantime, while you're trying to find, that first good one or two coaches in your weak leg, that huge carryover account in your strong leg is going to be sitting there waiting for you to kind of cash in on it, which is really cool. Okay, so these are the coaches that had over 350 team volume points in their weakest leg. So Marilyn Berger, Kate McGinty, Elle Deal, Brooke Reed, Jennifer Conroy, Mary Beth Darling, Ann Knapp, Craig Schmidt, Margaret Mackerer, Laura Basile, Nicoletta Sidowitz, Kelly Marks, and Lauren Kellum. With over 500 team volume points in their weak leg, Ryan Williams, Tripp Knowles, Carrie Steelman-Schmidt, Jill Wagner, Melissa Virgil, Beth Reelman, Second Business Center, Brittany Oat, Josh Morgan, Sarah Olinsky, Dave Yakel, got that right, Wade Kephart, and Nick Waltz, with over 1,000 team volume points in their weak leg. And just in case you guys don't know what this looks like, I'm going to share my screen for a second. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I post every Thursday, and this is the recognition photo that you want to get on. This is probably the most important one. This is the one that's showing the coaches that are becoming leaders and creating successful coaches in their left and the right leg and building a deep team. Okay, so in the 1,000 Club last week, we had Charles Wallace, Shauna Valenta, Pete Reelman, Ashley Feldinson, Brittany Miller, Amy Reelman, Second Business Center, Robert Rodriguez, Chris Bachlet, Gage Eckert, Stacy Slade, Joe Policino, Marie Sardelli, my Third Business Center, and Caroline Nathan. Okay, so you can kind of move up through these clubs as your weak leg team volume starts to grow. And the way you check that is just by going to your coach online office, and you can scroll down, and it's right here under my volume. You got your left leg team volume and you got your right leg team volume. And if you want to see the coaches that are making up that team volume, you just go to My Business, My Downline, Graphical Genealogy, and you can see all those people's names. You can also go to My Business, My Volume, and you can see, okay, here's the volume in my left leg, here's the volume in my right. I can actually click on this number and see all the people, all the coaches in my left leg that are creating that volume. So you can see their name and you can see the amount of volume that they're creating. And then you can go, recognize them and shout them out when you see their name pop up there. So that's that. Okay, so to round up this weak leg team volume recognition, so we got 3,000 clubs. So these are coaches that have over 3,000 team volume points in their weakest leg. Amy Morgan, Terry Bocklet, Alyssa Sardelli, and Michelle Phillips. So these are where you're starting to see like the leaders on the team creating a ton of team volume by duplicating their efforts and growing a team of strong coaches. 5,000 club, you got Andrea Wallace, my second business center, and Amy Reelman. And then the 10,000 club, you have my mom, who's just the training genius, and myself. So that's that. So that's the recognition. Good recognition, right? So we're going to hop into the call. So Joe Paulsino and I, we went on an event this past weekend. So back in May was the second annual men's Beachbody event. It was an event put on by two guys that were their founding Beachbody coaches that they wanted to make an event that all the guys could come to and the guys could get together and figure out why the women are just kicking our ass, right? Because it's like 90% women and they are just kind of kicking our ass. So they created this event for us to kind of all go, and some of the men that are doing really well get on stage and speak. But more than that, it was kind of the conversations we had, when we weren't speaking, when we were at the bar and just chilling in between sessions and things like that. And we had a few guest speakers that were invited to come and speak at the event in May as well. And one of them was Scott Mann. So Scott Mann spent 23 years in the United States Army, and 18 of those years was a Green Beret. And he was in Afghanistan, he was in Iraq, he was in other smaller countries in South America. But his job was to go into these villages in Afghanistan with his team of 12 that he was the leader of, the 12 Green Berets, and try to help these villages, these rural villages in Afghanistan that were just getting destroyed by the Taliban. So he would go in there and kind of teach these villagers how to protect themselves. But at first they wanted nothing to do with him and his team. So what he would do is he would have to protect them from the Taliban by himself with his team before the farmers in that rural area would eventually join. But in the beginning, it was just Scott and his team shooting back at the Taliban, protecting the rural farmers. And every night they'd go up on this rooftop to protect the farmers from the Taliban, night after night after night. And eventually, one night they go up to get to the top of this roof to shoot back at the Taliban, and all of a sudden they see a shot come from behind them. And it's one of the farmers in the village that finally got the courage to go up on their own roof and start shooting back at the Taliban with Scott and his team. And then the next night, there was like 3 or 4 farmers that had the courage to go up on the roofs and shoot back. And before long, the entire village was up on the roof shooting back at the Taliban, and Scott and his team didn't even need to be there anymore. And that's what he calls rooftop leadership. It's going up on the rooftop when no one else is willing to do it and leading from there and just doing it night after night, whether you feel like it or not. And eventually people start to take notice. And if you stay consistent with it long enough, you start to build a team and a village of people that are all going towards the same thing. And now he's gone into the corporate world and he's teaching this kind of bottom-up leadership to corporations, to businesses, to communities, to churches, and all that stuff. So he spoke at our men's event, and then he had a special small event just for 40 of the Team Beachbody men coaches out in like the farmlands of Florida, which was an unbelievable experience. So Joe and I are going to share some of our top takeaways from the event, if that's cool with you guys. Is that cool with you guys? Yeah? All right. Looks like a lively crowd. All right, Joe, I'm going to kick it off. So the first thing he had us do, and this is something I would have you guys do, was he asked us, why am I here? Why are you guys here? So that's something to ask yourself. Why are you guys coaches? Why are you on this call? And I'll just kind of let you know what I wrote down just kind of off the top of my head. But his questions were, why am I here? What brought me here? And what one thing do I want to bring back with me? What one thing do I want to take back with me after this call? So I want you guys, if you got pen and paper, write that down. Why are you here? And what's one thing you want to take away from this call? If you don't have pen and paper, go get it quick. All right. So I wrote down leadership, becoming a better leader, become the truest version of myself, fuck fear, help others become the truest version of themselves, shine and help others shine, make that shift from that fear to that service to others, humble, grateful, connection, building connections with the other guys on the team that are also very like-minded, just like me. That was a huge reason I went to that, and I'm really glad I did. And then I wanted to take back the tools to be able to help me do those things even better than I currently already am. So if you haven't wrote those things down, why are you here? Why are you a coach? And what do you expect to get out of this call? Write those things down now. And you can even share it in the chat if you want. That'd be cool too. Why are you here? Okay. We go to the next thing. Mindset. I liked it. He called it, instead of saying a mindset, he called it the heart set of a leader. The mindset and the heart set of a leader. His thing was all about leaving tracks. So his father was there, just the kind of guy, this older guy that when he doesn't say a lot, but when he speaks, you listen. And you're just like, wow, like that's gold. So Rex, his father, was going through cancer and it didn't look like he was going to make it. And Scott, this this tough army dude, goes in and he's like kind of starting to bawl a little bit. And his dad says, "Are you okay?" And he goes, No, I'm not. And he asks his dad, "How come you are? Like, why are you so at peace right now? Why are you so graceful right now? Like kind of in your last moments." And I wrote down this where Rex was okay with dying because he had left his tracks. And that's why he had a grace about him. He knew what kind of tracks he wanted to leave and he had left them. And so he was at peace. He knew that the things that he had done in his life was going to affect the other people that were still going to live on and affect the lives of some of the people that had never even been born yet. Humans are a meaning-seeking creature. We're the only species on the planet that's searching meaning. I asked him again. I asked Rex, to you, like, what is meaning? Like, what gives life meaning to you? Because this guy was just this older dude, he didn't die from the cancer, he beat it. And he was at the event, which was so cool. But there was something about him, and I went up to him in between sessions, and I asked him, I said, what to you, when you say leave tracks, like, what does that mean to you? What gives your life meaning? And he thought about it for a second, and he's like this tough guy, and he goes, not to be noble or any shit like that, but life is a gift. If you haven't done something that helps someone else, you've wasted it. And I just love that. All right, so we're going to get into some of like the actual technical stuff now, but I wanted to kind of share some of those things that kind of hit me. So I did a live Zoom call or a live Facebook video in the Boom Fam yesterday, and I'm going to kind of go over that same thing today. So one of the guest speakers, he makes a living helping people figure out what their why is. If you don't know what your why is, you're just kind of going to go through the motions and just react to things that get thrown at you. And that's when you start to get anxious and depressed and all those that fear and all that other crap. But if you know what your why is, you know what gives your life meaning and purpose, you're going to have more energy, you're going to be more excited about life, and then the success and all that other stuff comes. But that's why it's so important to know which one of these 9 is your why. Everyone has one. It's going to be one of these 9. So number 1 is contribute. These people find meaning in life by contributing to a cause bigger than themselves or to others. The obstacle for them is they sometimes get spread too thin because they say yes to everything. And you guys can, in the chat box, if something's like, that's me, you can chat, throw it in the chat or something like that, or if you have questions. So number 1 is contribute. Number 2, these people find meaning in life by building strong relationships based on trust. So number 2 is trust. To create relationships based on trust. The obstacle for these people is they don't open up to many people. They don't have very many friends, but they do have a few, and those relationships are so strong and they're so based on trust. And those relationships based on trust are what give their life so much meaning. Number 3, make sense. These people find meaning in life by taking the complicated things, breaking them down, and making them simple for others. Number 4, better way. These people find meaning in life by finding a better way and sharing it with others. And again, I touched on this, but if you're in alignment with your why, you have unlimited energy. If you're operating outside of your why, you're going to eventually lose the fun, lose the energy, and you're going to give up and quit. That's why it's so important that we figure out what our why is and we stay in that lane, because that's where your energy is going to be. Number 5, right way. These people find meaning in life by always looking for a process or a system that's the right way to do things. And these people tend to be kind of stubborn, and they tend to kind of always be focused on results. Number 6, challenge. These people find meaning in life by challenging the status quo, thinking outside of the box, and questioning authority. So you like someone who's a challenge person and someone who's a right way person. A right way person's like wants to find the right way and just stick to that, and they're kind of results oriented, kind of stubborn in that way. Then you got the challenge person who likes to question everything and challenge everything. Those two people are going to bump heads a lot, right? And it's funny, like we were talking at the event, it sounds like, you know, a few of the guys there, they had children. One was a challenge person, one was a right person, and they're constantly bumping heads. Or a parent is a right way person, and one of the kids is a challenge person, so they're bumping heads. But if you have a kid that's a challenge, gets meaning in life by challenging, and you have a kid that's gets meaning in life by sticking to the right way, you're probably going to have to parent those kids a little bit differently. And if you have a coach that's a right way, or you have a coach that's a challenge way, you're going to have to lead them differently. So not only is it important for you to figure out your why, the thing that gives your life meaning, your alley, but help your coaches figure out what that is, and you know what that is, because you're going to have to help them stay on that track too. Okay. So again, number 1, contribute. Number 2, trust. Number 3, make sense. Number 4, better way. Number 5, right way. Number 6, challenge. Number 7, master. So these people find meaning in life when they do something, they have to master it. That's how they find meaning. So if their thing is honey, they're going to become a beekeeper, and they're going to create like the best honey on the planet. That's just how they roll. Number 8, clarify. So these people find meaning in life. They'll say this by clarifying things for others. They'll say the same things 10 times in a row because they want to make sure that it's super clear and that they've clarified it for the person they're talking to. And that's what gives their life meaning. They get really excited about that. Number 9, simplify. So these people find meaning by breaking down a process to only the mandatory or necessary. They love to cut the fluff and just get down to the bare bones basics. And when they do that, they get more excited, and it's what gives them meaning, and they just want to keep doing more and more and more of that and sharing that with other people. So those are the 9 different whys. And he said it might not jump out at you right away. Some people, like, they know what theirs is right away. Sometimes people think there's 2 that are kind of them, and for like example, but a lot of times like the second one is usually kind of your how. The first one's your why, the main one's your why, the second one's a lot of time is your how. So for example, if you're a contribution person, if that's your why, but you also love to like make sense of things, then that's your how. So you contribute to others, and you find meaning in life by contributing to others, by helping others make sense of things, by taking things that are complicating and helping others see it very simply. Or maybe it's to clarify or to simplify or a right way. But if you think you're 2, a lot of times it's just one is your why and the other is kind of how you're going to go about that why. Okay, so your why is your purpose and what makes you excited about life. There's an infinite number of hows and whats, but finding your why is crucial. You cool with that? I see a bunch of stuff. Did I miss any questions?
Hey, Pat, can I jump in on this?
Yeah, definitely, Joe.
Something I also got out of it was, it's important to find out which one of those 9 types you are, but also to recognize the other persons, not only so you can adapt and work with them, but when you find those people the same as you, those are the ones you're going to have the most success with, because you're not butting heads, you're not conflicting, you're on the same page, and that's your tribe right there.
Yeah, exactly. And they actually, I thought it was cool, Joe. I don't remember him saying this, but he's starting to go into schools and work with 15-year-old high school kids to help them figure out what their why is, like what one of those 9 kind of gives their life more meaning and they get more excited about. And then they're kind of help them pick a career path based on that, which I thought was really awesome.
Yeah.
And then I also wrote down exactly what you just said, understanding your coach's whys as well as your own. One other thing I wrote down, I feel like, there's probably a lot of, coaches on this call or coaches in general that their why is contribution, or maybe it's make sense, or maybe, whatever it is. A lot of times, that's kind of what got you into this business, because you can fulfill your why with this coaching business, with any of those 9, which is why it's such an amazing platform. But sometimes you can get really sidetracked away from whatever your why is, and so focused on success club, points, rank, income, and all that stuff. And that stuff's great. I mean, I'm all for the income and, being able to have peace of mind and not have to live paycheck to paycheck, and maybe even eventually be able to, leave your job and do this full time if that's your thing. I'm all for that stuff. But if you're always focusing on success club and signing coaches and the rank, and you get away from that why, let's say it's contribution, and you lose sight of that, then you're not operating from that why, you're going to start to lose energy. It's just how it works. If you're operating from your why, if you're operating from, let's say if it's contribution, and you're in that alley, whatever it is you're doing, whatever the how and the what is, as long as you're staying consistent in that alley of contribution, you're going to have so much more energy. You're going to have so much more fun with what you're doing, and the success club points and the coaches and the rank and the income is going to come naturally, right? But if you are out of that contribution and you kind of get away from that, and it's all just about how can I get the next success club point? How can I hit success club this month? You're going to lose your energy, and eventually it's going to run out, and you're going to end up quitting or needing a break, right? So that's why another reason it's so important to figure out what your why is, and then just run in that alley and stay right there and hone that thing. Does that make sense? All right. Do you guys have any questions about any of those? Let's see. I'm just reading this real quick. Wait, can I be all of them? What was 8 and 9? 8 was clarify. So they'll say the same things over and over until they know the person is really clear on what they're trying to teach. I think a lot of teachers are like that. I know I'm like that. I say the same things over and over until my new coach, I feel like, has it, because that's how I learn. I have to hear it a million times. And then simplify is number 9. They like to break down a process and, kind of cut out the fluff and just make it really streamlined. Clarify and simplify. Thanks. No problem. Okay. No more questions there? Good. We can come back to that. All right. Rooftop leadership. We talked about this. We talked about how Scott, he would help these villages eventually be able to stand up for themselves against the Taliban, but it started with him leading from the rooftop alone. And other people had to watch him before they would join. That's how rooftop leadership works, and that's how this business works too. So a couple things about rooftop leadership. The mindset, the heart set. Number 1, know your tracks. You got to know your tracks. You got to know what tracks you want to leave in this business. And people follow a leader that's really clear on their purpose, that's really clear on their why. So number one, the mindset and the heart set of a rooftop leader is someone who's very clear on their purpose, very clear on the tracks they want to leave, very clear on their why. Number two, skill set, know the arena, read the human terrain. There's someone that is able to be very compassionate and understanding about where people are and meet them where they're at. Number three, they connect as if their life depended on it. Scott and his team would have to connect with these rural farmers as if his life depended on it, because it did. Once the connection is made, you lead from the rooftop, and storytelling is the biggest tool for that connection, and we're going to get more into that storytelling. And then number four, then you actually got to lead from the rooftop. Then you actually got to go up there every day, show up every day, whether you feel like it or not, whether it's raining or sunny or you're tired or you got something on TV. You got to go up to that rooftop every day, because otherwise people aren't going to eventually join you. But if they see you up there every day and they see why you're doing it, because you're very clear on your purpose and your why for being on that rooftop day after day after day, eventually you're going to find people that believe in that same thing, and they're going to get on that rooftop with you. And eventually you're going to have a team, a village of people that are all moving towards the same thing. And that's what makes this so much more fun. So that's the rooftop leadership mindset, heart set. Okay, story. So we're going to get a little bit into this. So humans have been around telling stories for 100,000 years, but we've only been speaking for 10,000. So there's a lot more than just words. Story adds meaning and memory to the random data and info in our lives that's coming at us all the time. So you always want to lead off any lesson with a story. When we're listening to someone tell a story, we listen to it as if it's autobiographical. We implant ourselves in the story. So when you're telling a story to someone else, they are implanting themselves in that story, relating to it. Our mirror neurons in our brain start to connect. The more personal your story is to you, the more others connect and find themselves in your story. Don't tell your story. Relive that. Relive the thing. And the story is not for you. The story is not for you to go on and on about your story. The story is for them, for the listener, to serve others, for them to be able to connect with what you're sharing. If they connect with your story, then they're going to be willing to listen to what you're doing now to get past that story, get past that struggle. 3 parts of your story. Number 1, beginning, needs a hook. Number 2, the middle, needs a build. So after the hook, the build is there's a struggle or a conflict. That's where people connect. People connect to a struggle or a conflict. And then 3, there's the payoff. But Beachbody coaches, in general, we don't do a very good job of this. We live in number 3. We talk about the payoff, and that's it. We talk about how excited we are about Beachbody and what it's going to do for us and all this stuff, right? And that's cool. But people don't connect to that. They connect to the struggle. They connect to the conflict. So sharing the struggle that you had or the struggle you're currently going through is what people are going to connect with, and then they're going to be willing to listen to the solution you have. But it starts with that second part, that struggle, that conflict.
Yeah, Pat, I was going to talk about that too and show a video for an example. Now, we were all men coaches there, but we didn't really talk about business. We just talked about life. We got pretty deep. I mean, the stories were heavy. Pat's doing a great job relating it to our business. But I want to show you a video of someone we met, and then you'll just see what the 3 parts are. So there's the beginning, there's which is the hook, right? Boy meets girl, so-and-so. There's a middle part where it builds. There's a struggle or conflict, like Pat said. And at the end, there's some kind of payoff or resolution. So let me just share my screen. This is a gentleman that we met. It was real heavy. Check it out, and we'll talk about it after this if I can find it. Here we go.
You gotta turn the volume up a little bit, Joe.
Basically a communications guy. So we opted to do a humanitarian assistance mission. We came under attack, probably about between 25, 30 enemy forces with machine gun fire, RPGs, AK rounds, and then we were receiving direct fire as I was on the back of the truck. I remember turning to my left, looking for the box of grenades that I had in the Humvee. And as I did that, I felt like somebody had punched me in the back of the neck. And at that time, I heard my buddy Reese start saying, "Chief got hit. Chief got hit." And that's all I remember. You know, to this day, I really don't remember when they told me that I was paralyzed. So, you know, I dealt with it, you know. Hey, you know, I'm still alive. You know, our Lord Jesus Christ gave me another chance to live, to be with my wife, with my children.
I know Romulo since I was 12 years old, more than 26 years ago in Venezuela. And he gave me my first kiss when I was 14 years old.
You know, I had the pleasure of being her first kiss. Maybe she had the pleasure of me being her first kiss.
We have been together for 13 years, and we got married in 2006.
And what always struck me was how just committed and devoted and dedicated Gabby was to this recovery. I mean, you know, word champion is probably an understatement. She was constantly 100% committed to this recovery, and it was just amazing how she remained so resolved and so resolute in supporting him.
But 18 months at the hospital again, you know, by his side all the time, taking day by day. The only thing that I knew, Romulo needs me, and I'm gonna be by his side. I'm just gonna take one day at a time, and that's what I've been doing for the last 5 years.
Gabby said, you know, I think we can do this. You know, we can open up a center of our own, a gym that we could have together.
Let's do something. I know that we can do this in Tampa.
We decided that the name Stay in Step would definitely be right for the type of gym that we want to open up. Stay in Step, a step forward towards recovery. That way, you know, everybody's focused on one thing, basically focusing on rehab and having the support that we're going to give at the rehab center.
In my communications with the leadership of the VA and James A. Haley, I've learned that they believe in what Gabby and Romy are doing, and that it is necessary to have one of these type Stay in Step facilities here to complement and augment what the SCI facility at James Haley is currently offering. That they'll never be able to offer what the needs are for Romy and people like Romy.
With everybody's support here in the community, we can bring up a center that's going to impact so many lives.
So there's a number of ways that people can contribute to this. They can donate money, which will make a huge impact on realizing this dream. But they can also donate time, talent, and expertise. And tell a friend. Share this initiative. Mobilize the community. Get people involved. This is a great story. This is a story that will motivate people to get involved. This is a story that will motivate soldiers and veterans to get back into the game. So, you know, any of those will make a big difference. And we hope that everybody will take some step toward recovery and some step toward helping Romy and Gabby pursue this dream.
It's gone, but I think it's still playing. Hold on. All right, pretty heavy, huh? So beginning of the story, Romy and his wife, Gabby. Gabby, by the way, she's an attorney in Venezuela, but she doesn't do any business here, and I'll get more into that. So the beginning is the hook. Husband and wife in love. He goes off to the service. The middle is his injury. And the payoff at the end is they decide to put the Senate together to not only help Romy, but the community and the rest of the servicemen that are injured. Now, the thing, they had to raise a lot of money, and they had to tell their story, and they had to lead with the heart. That's part of the mindset. They had a couple of companies write checks for $300,000, and they didn't do that saying, you know, we need 10,000 for this and 500 for that. They had somebody from Toyota, I wasn't sure if it was a CFO or CEO or somebody regionally, but he came and the place was a complete disaster, and they were afraid to even bring him there. But just Gabby talking about, you know, the meaning of what they wanted to do is what captured that Japanese businessman, who are usually very cold, and he wrote a check for 300 grand like that. So your story is huge, and it's not about you. It's got to be about them. I always do better face to face because sometimes I'm really emotional, right, Pat? And a lot of you guys know that. But when you're talking to people, you know, don't just say like, hey, you know, it works. Like, you know, I lost 40 pounds, or I lost 100 pounds, or 20 pounds, or whatever it is. You know, talk to them, ask them what they're going through. You know, ask them, you know, a lot of, like I said, we all got into stories that were deeper than business. And I'm sure each one of you have a story that you haven't spoken about yet. So talk to your potential customers. You know, some of you might have been bullied because of your weight. You might have felt like an outcast, couldn't participate in things, you know, stuff like that. Get into people's heads, man. Find out what's really, you know, irking them. What's deep in their soul? What's in their heart? What do they really need help with? All right. That's what I got out of it. And you could see, if you heard Romy and Gabby talking, you get the full idea. I hope, you know, I relayed that message right. So there was one other thing that was pretty heavy, talking about laying tracks. And laying tracks is really not about you, like the small stuff. It's like Pat said, something indelible, something that's going to live on after you. So we were asked to do an assignment. And I should put my glasses on so I can read this properly. So if you all get your pen out and paper, just write this down. You don't have to read it to anyone, but you might want to team up with somebody, a Success Club partner, somebody on your team or something. And all right, and the question is, well, I'm going to put it in first person. What would the person who held my hand at death say about me to someone who has never met me? Got it? What would the person who held my hand at death say about me to someone who has never met me? And whenever you have a chance, you don't have to do it now, whenever you want. Definitely not during the call, so you can pay attention to Pat. Pat, did you talk about the tracks that Rex is leaving with the tree? Go ahead, Pat. You got it. Unmute yourself, Pat.
Okay, sorry. Couple things. The first being, seeing Gabby and Romy talk about their story and the things they've been through, but the excitement and passion they have for what they're doing in life makes you look at the things that you get down on yourself about and really wonder why you give yourself such a hard time for those things. It really puts things in perspective when you get around someone that's as full of life as Romy, that's been through what he's been through. Did you want to talk about the Rex, Joe?
Well, I'll talk about Romy for a second. He's sitting there, and he has to take that breath. But after like a couple of minutes, you don't see a disability. The guy was sharp as a tack, full of life, and his wife was just incredible too.
Yeah.
Spartan woman. Two tough, strong people, and it's not about them. It's about what they're doing for others,
Yeah. So along the lines of that question, Joe had you write down, like, if you were to pass on, what would other people, the people that knew you, what would they tell the people that didn't know you about you? And then another one would be, what ideally would you want people that know you to say to other people that didn't know you when it is your time? And then figure out what the difference is between what they would say now versus if you got to live the ideal life and do the things you really want to do with your life. What would they say then? And it's funny, like Joe and I actually got paired up when we did this, and Joe kind of read it as like, if someone was going to talk about my life now, and he said a few things that, weren't like the best, like he wanted to maybe do different. And I was like, I think you're supposed to do the exercise as if like ideally you lived the life you wanted, so there was a few things that now I think Joe, right, Joe, is going to do a little bit differently so that when, his time does come in 60 years from now, that he won't have those regrets anymore. And the people that didn't know him, the people that did know him will tell those people that didn't know him, the things that Joe was really about, that he really made time for. So yeah, that's definitely a great exercise. Write down ideally what someone who knew you would tell, someone who didn't know you, and then do, whatever it takes to live that life.
Yeah, man, I've already made some decisions and some serious changes already in my life just from this weekend.
I love it.
Guys, if you want to go, next March, there'll be another one.
Yeah. It does make you get very, very clear on, what you want to do with your time. And when you're really clear on your why and your purpose and the tracks you want to leave, that's when other people want to be a part of what you're doing. That's what being a rooftop leader is all about. All right. Another thing, don't compare your story to others. You might think you don't have a story. It just has to be personal to you. It doesn't have to be some huge whopper. And your story isn't your whole life story. It can be little bits and pieces. This one little thing that happened to you when you were 6 years old. This one little thing that happened to you when you were 16. This one thing that happened to you, and kind of how you've learned from it. And those little tiny stories, those little like breadcrumb stories, are how you get your story out there. You don't have to throw your whole story out there at once. That's not what we mean by share your story. But again, it just has to be personal to you. Once you fall in love with it and it's yours, and then do you have the courage to go there in a way that serves others? Again, it's not about sharing your story to say, hey, look at me, this is my story, this is what I've been through. It's to serve others. It's to help people connect with who you are and what you've been through. so that then eventually you guys can lock arms maybe and get past that struggle that you guys were able to relate to.
Yeah, I always thought I had my story, and I did, but I didn't get a chance to always finish my story. And from now on, the whole thing is being told. Because it's not about me.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Would you mind sharing your story, Joe?
You got an hour? I don't know if you saw it in the group, Pat. I did it yesterday.
You condensed it down to an hour?
It's 57 or 58 minutes long.
Well, you condensed it down to 57 minutes. That's good. Would you do a live, like a Facebook Live in the Boom Fam maybe? You know, I don't know what time would work for you to kind of do that.
Yeah, I think more than myself, maybe we get a couple of guys at a time to do it. You know, two or three coaches, spend an hour and give everybody like 20 minutes.
Why don't we just give you the full hour? If you want it.
You know what? I'm trying. It's a Facebook Live, and maybe one of you guys could tell me how. I have it saved as a video, but I don't know how to share it.
Where do you have it saved?
Well, I have it a personal video
on your computer.
No, in my Facebook. How do I get it into my computer? And we can talk about this later. I don't want to take up time on the call.
Yeah, I'll help you with that. Okay, 4 things here. So number 1, and this again kind of repeating, but number 1, get very clear on your why and your purpose. Number 2, get clear on the tracks you want to leave. Number 3, figure out the tools and the things you need to do to make those 2 things happen. And then number 4, surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that want to do those same things, that have that same why, that want to leave the same tracks as you. Okay, so I want to get into 2 other things here. Got some time. So when you're sharing your story and you're getting vulnerable, you know, that's sometimes scary. You're going to have some haters sometimes. You're going to have people that are going to like get on you about that stuff. So this is what Scott had to say about that. So you're threatening their relevance and their happiness by doing that. You know, people start to get they can get afraid because you're doing something that's outside of your comfort zone, and it makes them feel a little bit less about themselves. So they, rather than push themselves to grow, they'd rather pull you back down because that's easier. And he used the example, you guys have probably heard about it, but like when there's a bucket of crabs that are caught in a bucket that are about to get like boiled up, one of the crab tries to climb out of the bucket to escape. The other crabs pull that crab back down into the bucket. And if the crab keeps trying to climb out of that bucket to get out, the other crabs pull its claws off. It's crazy, but that's just kind of how people are. They get scared, and that's the way they react is they try to pull you back down. But don't let them do it. Okay, so then the other thing we talked about was this mind chatter. I'm sure you guys, you know, people that are you know, very sensitive and creative and intelligent and imaginative. They have all these amazing gifts that make them the best teachers and parents and friends, husbands and wives. You know, that we have, I think a lot of the people that are drawn to this coaching thing are those kind of people that have these amazing gifts. But if those gifts are turned inward, you know, they can make you kind of sick a little bit. You know, that racy thought, that mind chatter, the imagination, the anxiety can go inward and create all that havoc. So there's a triangle. It's called the triangle of torment that a lot of us put ourselves through. And there's kind of 3 parts to it. The first is you start that little voice in your head, and you actually kind of talked about this. I don't know if I have notes on that, but it's a universal thing. It's the human species. Like we all have this triangle of torment. It's just kind of how our brain works. at the very top, at times when you're outside of your comfort zone, the first thing your brain's going to say is, I'm not good enough. I suck. I'm not going to be able to accomplish this. I'm not good enough. And then that moves to comparing yourself to others. I'm not as good as them. They're better than me. And then it moves to, I'm never going to be able to do this. And it moves to overwhelm. And then it moves to in the middle, which is a victim. You become a victim and you pull yourself back from everything and you think, no one understands me. Why would I ever try to share my story? And you never want to listen to anyone else's story because you became that victim. So that's this triangle of torment. I'm not good enough. They're better than me. I could never do what they're doing. And then I'll never be able to do this. Overwhelm. And then the victim, it's just no one understands me. This isn't my thing. And you pull back. He talked about being able to be very conscious and aware of the difference between those voices, those negative voices in your head, and who you truly are, because you're not those voices. You're not those voices. All right.
It's a lot of you guys know this stuff already, but it's just, you got to be aware of it, man. You got to know what it is and what you're fighting against and what you have to just push out of your system, whether it's your head or, your lack of confidence, and know where it's coming from too. Like Pat was talking about the Krebs, or the other two parts of that, Pat. I don't know if you left it out purposely, but that was, you got the people that you love that are hating on you, so, there's, what the hell did I do with it? It's the, the people that are at a distance from you that they're chucking spears at you. You got the people that love you that are putting you down, putting you down. They're sticking knives in your back. And then, like Pat said, then you got the Krebs that are just constantly dragging you down. You just got to be aware of these things, be conscious of it, and just get rid of it, man. Just get it out of your system. But you got to be aware of it first. You might be, you laying in bed all night and shit's on your mind and you don't know what it is. Figure it out, identify it, and you got to get rid of it. You got to do your PD.
Yeah. And that, those negative thoughts, that triangle of whatever it's called, triangle of torment. That's something that is just human nature. Everybody has that. Personal development is huge for that. Consistently putting the good stuff in your mind to kind of override that other stuff, and surrounding yourself with a bunch of other positive people that are also trying to grow past those negative voices in their head, instead of letting those negative voices control them. Those are two of the biggest things, but you got to be doing those things consistently. And also, I know people don't talk about it a lot, but just a little 10-minute meditation every day. There's an app called Calm, CALM. It's like a little guided 10-minute meditation that just kind of quiets those negative thoughts. You start to not get so reactive and caught up in them, and you kind of just let them go, and you become more of a witness to those thoughts rather than a victim to them. It doesn't happen overnight because we're so conditioned to believe those negative thoughts are who we are, and we're so caught up in them. But the PD, surrounding yourself with people that are on this journey that are going to hold you accountable, and a little 10-minute meditation app like Calm or Headspace or Buddhify, those are going to go a long way to help you separate yourself from that negative bull. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is 4 steps of active listening. Number 1, when you're listening to someone, really listen to them. So number 1 is body language, eye contact, nonverbals. Lean in, don't lean back. If you're sitting talking to someone, if you're on a Zoom call, this is not active listening. Leaning in, that's active listening. Another way, and number 2, summary of content. So occasionally summarize what they're saying. Can we stop for a second so I can make sure I understand what you said, because I want to make sure I get this. That's another step in active listening. Just taking that time for them so they know that you're taking the time to really make sure you got it right. Number 3, reflection of feeling. What if they're going through if they're telling an emotional story, and you're standing there just stone faced, it's not going to be the type of active listening. There's not going to be a connection there. So really, reflecting the feelings that they're feeling as well, not in a fake way, but really if you're actively listening and you're engaged rather than being on your phone and half listening, those feelings will naturally come. The close. So after you're done listening, the close is, okay, so what is the very next thing we're going to do? When are we going to talk again? And then one thing that Scott always says at the end is, here's what I'm going to do next. So what are we going to do? When are we going to talk again? And here's what I'm going to do next. So that's the kind of the last part of that. A couple little quotes at the end. At the end of these, whenever I get to meet some of these really successful people, I always ask them the same question. I always say, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received? So, I asked all these guys. Rex, the father, he said, quiet pride in what you do is okay, but don't strut. Diego said, let history be your teacher, not your anchor. I like that one. Jerry said, it's okay to disagree, but don't be disagreeable. Chad said, when the reptilian brain kicks in, start moving around. So that reptilian brain, the chatty monkey brain that's like racing and you don't even know where you are, when that starts to happen, move around, do something active, and it'll start to slow that down. So that's another thing that goes along with the personal development. Surround yourself with the good people, little 10-minute meditation, and move around, stay active. That'll quiet that chatty brain. Scott said, people don't want you to tell them what to do. They want you to remind them about why it's important to them. Rooftop leaders don't need credit. And then they talked a little bit about balance in life, where you're never going to have the perfect balance where everything's balanced, right here, family, career, all that, you're never going to have it all right there. It's like a teeter-totter where you're going to have to find that balance by teeter-tottering back and forth, so putting a lot of time into one and getting it to where you need it to go, and then going back to the other area and putting all the time into there. And it's not this whole level thing all the time. It's more of a teeter-totter. That's how you find balance in life.
Oh my God.
All right. I think that's the last part I had. You got anything else, Joe?
I think Stephanie, your mic is unmuted. Is that Dutremont? How do you say it? Pat, you know what? I was just thinking, a lot of you guys are married or you're living with somebody, significant other, whatever. That other person doesn't have to get involved with you. They don't have to understand. They just got to support you. But if they're not identifying with the speech by thing, don't worry about it. Like I said, they don't have to, man. Just get on, do what you got to do, and just accept the support and encouragement. Yeah.
Well,
I know I was always trying to push on Tina and stuff, and that was wrong, but she's always encouraged me to do my best. So that's just something I wanted to forward to everybody too, because a lot of people bitch, he doesn't like them doing this, and he thinks it's a scam. Let them think whatever they want. Just do what you got to do. I never got the negative stuff, and I just screwed it up myself.
All right, I think we're gonna end it there. What do you think, Joe? You want to you want to lead the boom on 3?
Sure.
And then we're gonna get your story on a live Facebook video.
I'm thinking I'm going to have to probably do it over, because there's about 6,000 F-bombs in it, and a couple of MFs and some S's and other stuff. And,
hey, that's what makes you, man.
That's real.
That's one of the reasons we love you. You live, your heart's on your sleeve.
All right, so we're going to think about people that we're helping, not successful points, right? We're going to finish up the month that way. All right, brothers and sisters. 1, 2, 3. Boo!
Gotta do it one more time.
Right away.
One more time, Joe.
1, 2, 3.
Boom!
Anybody had any,
See you guys.
like,
You're the man, Joe.
Thanks for the comments.